Dig Dug was initially developed for the arcades by Namco, the same folks that brought us Pac-Man, and released in 1982, going on to garner massive success and praise from gamers at the time. The arcade game is a beloved classic, and most everyone I know has a favorite Dig Dug memory of some sort. And of course, that meant Dig Dug would be ported to several different consoles and computer systems of the time, including the Atari 2600. Dig Dug on the Atari 2600 is actually pretty darn great. The story here is that you're Dig Dug, a miner who's trying to stomp out all these monsters that have overrun the mines underground. You can make your own tunnels through numerous layers of dirt. The manual calls these monsters the Fierce Fygar and the Big Mean Puka, trademark. The Fygars breathe fire and the Puka look like Hubert minus the nose. If the monsters touch you, you're dead. So you use your jet-powered shovel to create these tunnels and move around underground, and there are two ways to actually kill the monsters. You can get creative and try to tunnel out space under these boulders so they fall on the monsters and smash them, or you can use your portable air tank and inflate the monsters until they pop, because it turns out Dig Dug is actually the twisted origin story for the bad guy in No Country for Old Men. Seriously, that's messed up. Check out the box art. What the hell, man? Anyway, you can create your own tunnels, but your movements are still kind of based on a grid, up, down, left, or right, and you can fire your air tank in all four directions. The monsters typically will start out in their own little tunneled out areas, but they can also turn into ghosts and travel through the dirt without tunneling at all, and they can utilize whatever tunnels you create. And when it gets down to just one monster left on the screen, that monster will actually attempt to flee to the surface, making it extra satisfying if you manage to catch the little coward. Naturally, the game gets progressively more difficult as you go, with the monsters increasing in number and overall speed, while Dig Dug stays the same slow and plodding speed throughout. But never fear, here's a few pro tips to help you out. First of all, when you're inflating a monster to his horrible, gruesome death, if you hold down the fire button, the inflation process takes a few seconds as the monster slowly fills up with air before he explodes. But if you tap the fire button repeatedly once you've connected with the monster, he'll actually blow up and explode much faster. This can save you crucial seconds if you're surrounded. Also, you can kind of fire your air tank through a tunnel wall if it's thin enough. I'm not sure if this is a glitch or if this is how they designed it, but you can tunnel right up to the edge of where a monster is and then shoot through it, but he won't be able to get to you without turning into a ghost first, which costs him an extra second. Since it's part of the game, just use it to your advantage. And I found this really interesting. Dig Dug has something akin to a continue feature. The manual notes that if you press the fire button on the title screen immediately after you lose all of your lives, you'll restart on the most recent difficulty level that you died at. So if you just want to keep practicing on the more difficult stages, you can basically continue your game, almost as if you added an extra quarter. You'll just start out with no points. That's fairly innovative, and I wish more Atari games would have had that feature. Were there any other Atari games that did this that you know of? You can also use the game select switch on the console to toggle between normal mode and easy mode. Easy mode is indicated by a teddy bear on the screen. Aw, the graphic even shows up next to your score, so you can't just run up a fake high score on easy mode to impress all your friends. Graphically, this game certainly isn't perfect, especially when you compare it to the arcade version, but it's as good of a translation as you could hope for given the hardware, and it's just as playable today as it was 3 decades ago. The play control is solid and the gameplay really is addictive. I played this for a good hour or so, even after I'd already collected enough footage for this video. The music is also catchy, even if it's just the same really short jingle played on a loop. It only plays when you're moving around or tunneling, but it's still cool. Overall, I can't recommend Dig Dug on Atari 2600 enough, and you should be able to find it between $5 and $10. And if you don't have your physical Atari anymore, there are plenty of other great ways to play the game. It's even available on Steam for a couple bucks. Anyway, that's all for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Seriously, your support just means the world. Thank you for all of the kind words and support over these last 4.5 years. I really appreciate it. And of course, please don't text and drive, and we'll see you next time on Friday Night Arcade.